and welcome. My name is Michelle. I make the stays, and this is my little video to show you how to measure yourself. Start by tying a length of ribbon or elastic or string around your natural waist. It helps me to kind of bend from side to side to find that crease around the body where the natural waist is, especially in the back. For the measuring, we're going to start as usual at the bust around the fullest point with the tape straight across the back as much as possible. Somewhere in between a full breath and totally empty lungs. Definitely not any lower or higher than the full point. Next measurement is going to be the front bust. So this is just dividing up that bust measurement we just took. So I like to center one end of the tape right under where my arm would fall when it's at rest, and then go straight over the fullest part of the bust over to the same point on the other side. You can use the side seam of your clothes to kind of check, but it might not perfectly line up with those, so instead I like to use the center of where my arm falls. Next is waist. This is pretty standard, I would say, just around that smallest part of the natural waist or right around the bottom of the rib cage. We want the tape to sit in that kind of crease at the back, and that's going to be the most important part, even if it isn't the smallest part by the front of the waist. Yeah, I would get it sitting in that back space. So next we're going to do side length. This is going to be like from the level where we took the bust measurement straight down along the side to the level where we took the waist measurement. So this should not slant at all. It should go pretty perpendicular to the floor, and that's just going to show me how long to make the stays. And then the next measurement, I'd like to do essentially the same thing, but at the side back position. You can see I'm not doing this very well on myself. It's definitely more helpful if you have a friend. But just like halfway between side seam and center back. And that just helps me kind of place the hip curve and how long the back needs to be. So next is the front length. For this, I like to go from that fullest bust point down to about the pubic bone. It should be maybe 2 inches below like the top of your thigh if you're sitting on a hard kitchen chair or something. But it shouldn't be going so far down that it's going to stab you when you sit. For the back length, you can measure from the prominent bone at the base of your neck all the way down to waist, and then take 2/3 of that number to get a nice upper edge to waist measurement. And then from the waist to the lower edge, I like to go all the way to kind of the prominent part of the tailbone. So the next measurements that we're going to do are for placing the armhole. These get a bit tricky, but here we go. We're going to go from bust level at center front, like so. And we're going to measure in a gentle arc up to a point about 1 inch in front of where your arm is resting. And that's going to be the edge of the armhole in the front. We need to do the same thing for back. But since that's pretty hard to do on yourself, what I like to do is using a very visible tape measure like this, just kind of gently put it around my shoulders and take a photo or look in a mirror, and that way you can see what the number would be. And that needs to be about halfway down the shoulder blade. If you are getting straps on your stays and you want to double check the length for that, please measure from basically nipple point in front, over the shoulder, and all the way down to waist level and back to where it meets up with the ribbon that you've tied around your waist. And that is all the measuring. Thank you so much.